Hi, friends. Last Wednesday, we thought about the connection between Nathanael's question in John 1:46, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" and the statement in the Gospel of Matthew 2:23, "There Jesus made his home in a town called Nazareth, so that what had been spoken through the prophets might be fulfilled. He will be called a Nazarene." Today, I want to think more about the conversation between Jesus and Nathanael. It's clear from Nathanael's question that he doubted that Jesus was the Messiah. He was skeptical that Jesus was the fulfillment of the law of Moses and the words of the prophet. In the first chapter of John, verses 35 through 51, Nathanael is one of 5 disciples called to follow Jesus. He's the only one who expresses doubt, and he's the one with whom Jesus has the longest conversation. Nathanael is the one to whom Jesus reveals the most about himself. One thing that tells me is that Jesus is not offended by our doubts. He doesn't shy away from our questions. Instead, he engages them. He engages us. And in dialogue, Jesus helps us to come to know who he is. Jesus does not lecture Nathanael. He talks with him. He establishes a give and take relationship with him. I think sometimes we all fall into the trap of thinking that before we can have an intimate relationship with Jesus, we have to answer all of our questions and get rid of all of our doubts. But the truth is that intimacy with Jesus is built as we find the answers and address our doubts with him. We find that here in the beginning of the gospel story, and we find it again at the end. At the end of John's gospel, the disciple Thomas is absent when the resurrected Jesus appears to the other apostles. They tell Thomas the good news, but Thomas says, "Unless I see the mark of the nails in his hands and put my finger in the mark of the nails and my hand in his side, I will not believe." A week later, the disciples are together again, this time including Thomas, and Jesus appears to them, and Thomas makes a bold profession of faith, "My Lord and my God." Jesus responds to Thomas by saying, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have come to believe." It's the same pattern as the exchange with Nathanael at the beginning of the gospel story. Nathanael makes a profession of faith. "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." And Jesus answered, "Do you believe because I told you that I saw you under the fig tree? Now you will see greater things than these." Jesus' response to both Nathanael and Thomas is essentially, "This is just the beginning." Jesus promises Nathanael that he will come to see Jesus as the bridge between heaven and earth. And Jesus promises Thomas that that bridge is open to all, from generation to generation. I find great hope and comfort in the inclusion of doubters like Nathanael and Thomas in the life and ministry of Jesus. If there's a place for them, then surely there's a place for you and me. Thanks for listening. I'll see you again next week.